Hi, my name's Don. Welcome back to Project Urtle. In this episode we're going to be placing the external mouldings around the panel joints for the body, and then building a door for the shower ensuite enclosure. because when you wrap this edge moulding around the curve, the moulding tends to flare out a little bit on the edges. After I've got it in position and firmly riveted in, I give it a little tap with the soft face hammer to bring that edge back in flush with the panel. After fitting and riveting the moulding in onto the edge, then you're left with a rubber strip to put into the extrusion there, which tidies it up and makes it look quite nice. A little tap with the soft hammer seats that rubber down into the extrusion so it won't fall out again. Today's job is building the door for the ensuite shower toilet section, and as usual I forgot to video a lot of it. I tend to do that when I get a bit anxious, and I get a bit anxious when I've got to cut good looking miters that are on display. So we'll pick it up where I am at the moment. I've cut and fitted 3 sides. I needed to trim this last side a little bit. So I'll show you what I've done here. Basically the shower surround is made of a nice aluminium extrusion. I'll give you a close-up of that extrusion in a minute. And you cut a miter on each corner, and then you have these plastic corner stakes that you drive in the corner, like this one is, and then that allows you to drive that into the other one and holds it all together square. But prior to doing that, you need to put in a rubber seal, and I'll now show you how that works. So the system is the piece of extrusion like that and a rubber seal. The rubber seal is U-shaped, and I don't know whether you can see that. It has little serrations on the side and a little triangular piece each side there. Now that should sit down in there. Here's a piece of Perspex I just had lying around. It's not quite the right thickness. This is only about 5 millimeters, and the system is set up for 6 millimeter glass or Perspex. But you can see that goes together like that and gives a nice, neat, finished edge. If I cut through the back like that, and then extend that cut right up to that little triangular end piece on each side. Now, when I put the rubber seal on the Perspex, it wraps around like that. And the two pieces of extrusion will come up each side on the miter and leave that tiny little piece there. And when I get to all the way around the piece of Perspex, I butt joint it here and just add a little bit of super glue in to lock that joint together, and you really can't find that joint once it's all put together. I keep saying Perspex because that's what this piece is. What I'm using for the main shower is polycarbonate. I don't really like Perspex. It cracks fairly easily. When whereas the polycarbonate is, although it's softer and probably easier to scratch, is almost bulletproof. In fact, laminated polycarbonate onto glass, it does become bulletproof. Used around the world for that purpose. Okay, so as I mentioned before, the corners are held together with these little plastic corner stakes. They just get driven in. And then into these Okay, well that's slid together nicely. Nice clean joints, and the rubber seal sitting in there. I'll give you a close-up shot. In order to finish the frame construction, we need to lock these corners together. That little plastic corner stake is sitting in there, and at the moment these can slide back out again with just not a lot of effort, as you've seen. So we'll put a pop rivet into each corner. I'll just estimate where I need to be. Okay, we need to do that in 2 places for each corner. Now I'm going to try some magnetic catch door seal here. The material is a flexible magnet strip. 2 of them, one that'll go on the door jamb and one that'll go on the door. And I'm told that the strip alternates poles of the magnet, north, south, north, south, north, south, etc., all the way down. And in order to make both attract to each other, you've got to get it so that the souths line up with the north. And the easiest way to do that is just stick them together. And you'll notice that in this case, it hangs out by about that much. So it's fairly easy to cut flush. Now, I've already determined that where I want to place it is right down the edge of this door jamb here. So, running them down about there. And we'll stick them on both together. That way we know they line up. And we'll take this adhesive cover strip off and see how we go. Now I'm doing this now because I want to know how far to offset the hinge on the other side so that the door sits in the door jamb parallel. So on this edge I've added a length of piano hinge, and now what remains is to go and hang the door where it should be. I've got a couple of little pieces, 3mm thick MDF on the bottom, which will space the door for a bit of clearance at the bottom. And I've got about a 5mm, maybe 6mm gap each side, which is pretty good. Okay, now I need to mark the door jamb where, and then pop rivet the hinge into place there. Okay, the next step is to mark the position of the hinge. And I think I'll just scribe at the top, scribe down the door jamb a ways there. Should do that. We'll do the same at the bottom. Then simply rinse and repeat for all the rest of the rivet holes. Okay, that's mounted, and the magnet strips are there, and that closes. Now whether that's strong enough to withstand driving over corrugated road, dirt road, remains to be seen. It may need some kind of a latch somewhere for when travelling, but it certainly closes nicely for when you're stopped at camp. Okay, the shower screen door just needs a knob. You need to drill a hole larger than the bolt you're going to put through, just to allow for thermal expansion at different rates.
Okay.
Done.